at the end of the stream when X8 is fresh on my mind. So here we go. This is my Mega Man X games tier list. I'm only including the first 8. Maybe we'll update it when I play more like the D-Make and the PSP. But starting off, I don't think there's any question. Like, we all know it. X7 D tier. It is easily the worst in the game. There's some cool things they did, like some of the 3D sections work. But for the majority of it, let's be honest, it's crap. It's not fun. Your ears go bleeding. Thanks to a certain someone in chat. Burn! Burn! Transformation! Burn! Oh my god. It is the one game in this series, if you told me I had to replay, I'd be kind of upset. Because it's the one I didn't have, it's the only one I didn't have fun with. So that's why it's in D tier. Yeah, X7 is that unfortunate child of everyone going and saying, we have to go 3D. 2D is dead. We have to make a 3D game. You don't gotta. It took developers so long to realize you don't have to go 3D. Castlevania, you can be 2D. Mega Man, you can also be 2D. It's fine. It's fine. And so sadly, because of that, X7 is the worst. That's why it's still burning down there in the corner. Up next, which one do I want to do next? Well, I have it hidden what I think is the best game. The best game in the series, easily, is Mega Man X4. That's going in S tier. It is the peak of the series. They took everything from the first 3 games, they made it better. The upgrades are great. The boss fights are really fun. The weaknesses feel impactful. Out of all the games, if I was going to replay one, it is X4. And if you haven't played a Mega Man X game and you don't want to sit here and play through them all like I do, I'd highly recommend just playing through X4. It is the peak, and everything from there is downhill. Gonna have to play through X4. I highly recommend it. It is easily the best. Next up, and this might be a little controversial. I will do that after this video. Next up is actually the original Mega Man X. That might be a little controversial, but the fact is it set the groundwork for everything. And while there's some things like you have to unlock the dash. Thank you for the Baba. Well, you have to unlock the dash, you know. They clearly learned from it, and it's a very, very solid game. I had a suspicion when I started all the series playthrough, that if I didn't like X, I was not going to continue with X2. But it convinced me that I wanted to play through every game in the series, even all the way through up to X8. And if your game is good enough to do that, you did something right. So that's why that goes in A tier. Next up, it's actually going to be Mega Man X3. And I just really enjoyed X3. I was going back watching the VODs. I had a lot of fun playing it. And it's really close to X2. I actually might move it down to... No, it'll go in A tier. That's fine. But yeah, I think X3 is definitely the next highest. I really like the weapons in it. And there weren't too many bullshit moments. Other games had a lot of that. And I really enjoyed X3. After that is actually X2. And I know a lot of people say X2 is their favorite or it's one of the best. It's really hard for me to say because I rewatched myself played it, right? And I really enjoyed it right up until Sigma. I had a really, really bad time with Sigma having to run through the block crushing level every time. And that kind of soured my experience on it. But, like, it is almost as good as X3. I understand why people love it, and it has probably the best speed tech out of all the games. If you want to speedrun a game, I would say X2. That's easily up there. It just, for me, the Sigma fight just soured me on it, because I get impatient, I get crushed by blocks, I get more frustrated. It was a vicious cycle, you know? Alright, up next, let's see. I'm debating between 6 and 8. I'm gonna go 6. Yeah. 6 is definitely a disappointment, especially if you go from 4. It's okay. It's a fun game. Some of the powers were neat. It definitely had a lot of bullshit in it. but it at least tried, you know? And that's more than I can say about X7 and the other games. It's still a game that if I had to play again today, I'd be happy for it, you know? And yeah, that's X6. Next up is actually going to be X8. And I know I just finished it, but X8, yeah. The best part of X6 was Dynamo. The fact he just shows up. Hi, how you going? Yeah, well, let me talk about X6 more. Dynamo, kind of a worthless character, right? But the fact that he constantly shows up, dies, and is like, all right, see you later, then shows back up and just constantly gets his butt kicked. He never gets any new moves. Nothing. Like, he kind of just was my best enjoyment of that game. There's still, I think, a screenshot in my Discord or somewhere where he just shows up and says, hey, how you doing? At the end of a stage, just like, what's up? And then gets his butt kicked. Dynamo, that series made you for me, because otherwise I didn't care. Alright, next up is X8. I just finished it. But, for me, the reason I really enjoyed it is despite all the spike levels, I really had a lot of fun. A lot of the platforming was tight. I think the abilities were good. What holds it back is a lot of the unlockables are complete bullshit to get if you want 100% it. Also, there were just so many spike levels. I think it's fine to have one or two. But there were a lot of, like, what was it? The Burn Rooster, whatever his actual name is. That stage where it's like you have to constantly fall through the spikes. Sigma's Palace, fuck that. I'm just not the biggest fan of it. In addition, there is not one, but 2 vehicle stages in it. Why were there 2 vehicle stages? I mean, Axel's really good in it. I think Axel has good personality in X8. I actually really like how the characters interact with, like, they added 3 navigators, but they don't feel like wasted characters. They all have their own personalities. I like the idea of I could bring Pellet to help me find secrets, or I could bring Layer to help me with bosses. Or if I want, like, a mix, I can go with Aaliyah. There's a lot of here that I would still say go ahead and play through it. But it's still, the 2 driving segments just ruin the game for me. Especially the fact that if you want 100% it, you have to do the snow stage at least twice. That's another thing too, now that I think about it. X8, you know what? I'm actually going to drop X8 down a tier. I actually think it's worse now that I'm thinking about it too, having to redo all the stages multiple times. Like, you have to beat the stage, or not beat the stage, but you have to go with Axel on the Burn Roost stage. You have to go in with Axel, get the hammer, leave, get his hammer, go back in, smash it to get the next medal. So yeah, I still had fun playing it. Maybe I'm just too nice, but I still had fun. And last but not least, and this is probably the most controversial one, is I'm putting X5 just above X7. And even though I think gameplay-wise, it's probably maybe better than 6 and 8, it is such a step down from 4. The cutscenes go on overly long, where it is just a picture and text. And even the other games are better than that. It is such a letdown after 4 that I played through it, and it's such a letdown. You expect it to be better. And the funny thing is about X5, I don't remember a lot of it. I remember a lot of X7. I remember a lot of X6 and X8. I don't remember a lot of 5 because it's just there. It's a low-budget Mega Man game, and it's just such a drop that I can't... It is my second least favorite game in the entire series. Oh yeah, also, what story you get and what ending is complete RNG. Thank you, Pauser, for that. So that means you could do everything right, and now you just lose. Or you could just get the RNG and beat the game really quickly. Because, you know, that's what you want. You want RNG in your story. Right? That's what you want. And X7, fuck it. Don't play X7. If you're playing through all the games, skip X7.